You're far more precious than diamonds and pearls. If memory serves me correctly, I was wearing a little white tank top and a short black skirt. I had been raised Orthodox Muslim, so I had never before worn such revealing clothing while in my father's presence. When we finally arrived, the chauffeur escorted my younger sister, Layla, and me up to my father's suite. As usual, he was hiding behind the door waiting to scare us. We exchanged many hugs and kisses as we could possibly give in one day. My father took a good look at us. Then he sat me down on his lap and said something that I will never forget. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Hannah, everything that God made valuable in the world is covered and hard to get to. Where do you find diamonds? Deep down in the ground, covered and protected. Where do you find pearls? Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, covered up and protected in a beautiful shell. Where do you find gold? Way down in the mine, covered over with layers and layers of rock. You've got to work hard to get to them." He looked at me with serious eyes. "Your body is sacred. You're far more precious than diamonds and pearls, and you should be covered too." Source: More Than a Hero. Muhammad Ali's life lessons through his daughter's eyes. The one-eyed doe. A doe had the misfortune to lose one of her eyes, and could not see anyone approaching her on that side. So to avoid any danger, she always used to feed on a high cliff near the sea, with her sound eye looking towards the land. By this means she could see whenever the hunters approached her on land, and often escaped by this means. But the hunters found out that she was blind of one eye, and hiring a boat rowed under the cliff where she used to feed and shot her from the sea. "Ah," cried she with her dying voice, "you cannot escape your fate." The cage bird's escape. Once upon a time, there was a bird in a cage who sang for her merchant owner. He took delight in her song day and night, and was so fond of her that he served her water in a golden dish. Before he left for a business trip, he asked the bird if she had a wish. "I will go through the forest where you were born, past the birds of your old neighborhood. What message should I take for them?" The bird said, "Tell them I sit full of sorrow in a cage singing my captive song. Day and night my heart is full of grief. I hope it will not be long before I see my friends again and fly freely through the trees. Bring me a message from the lovely forest, which will set my heart at ease. Oh, I yearn for my beloved to fly with him and spread my wings. Until then there is no joy for me, and I am cut off from all of life's sweet things." The merchant traveled on his donkey through the dense forest. He listened to the melodies of many birds. When the merchant reached the forest where his bird came from, he stopped, pushed his hood back and said, "Oh, you birds! Greetings to you all from my pretty bird locked in her cage. She sends tidings of her love to you and wants to tell of her plight. She asks for a reply that will ease her heart. My love for her keeps her captive with bars all around her. She wants to join her beloved and sing her songs through the air with a free heart, but I would miss her beautiful songs and cannot let her go." All the birds listened to the merchant's words. Suddenly one bird shrieked and fell from a tree branch to the ground. The merchant froze to the spot where he stood. Nothing could astound him more than this did. One bird had fallen down dead. The merchant continued on to the city and traded his goods. At last, he returned to his home. He did not know what to tell his bird when she asked what message he had brought. He stood before her cage and said, "Oh, nothing to speak of, no, no." The bird cried, "I must know at once." "I do not know what happened," said the merchant. "I told them your message. Then one of them fell down dead." Suddenly the merchant's bird let out a terrible shriek and fell on her head to the bottom of the cage. The merchant was horrified. He wept in despair. "Oh, what have I done?" he cried. "What have I done? Now my life means nothing. My moon has gone and so has my sun. Now my own bird is dead." He opened the cage door, reached in, and took her into his hands gently and carefully. "I will have to bury her now," he said. "Poor thing is dead." Suddenly, the moment he had lifted the bird out of the cage, she swooped up, flew out of the window and landed on the nearest roof slope. She turned to him and said gratefully, "Thank you, merchant master, for delivering my message. That bird's reply instructed me how to win my freedom. All I had to do was to be dead. I gained my freedom when I chose to die. So now I fly to my beloved who waits for me. Goodbye, goodbye, my master no longer. My bird was wise. She taught me secret, the merchant reflected. If you want to be with the ones you love, you must be ready to give up everything, even life itself. And then, by Allah, you will win your heart's desire.